Hi, my name is Sasha, and I was the child that was never wanted. My mother told me that once, during a fight. She was yelling, and I was crying in the corner. I had accidentally broken a plate while washing dishes. It slipped from my small hands and shattered on the floor. I froze. I was so terrified, but I didn't expect the words that followed.
You ruined my life the moment you were born. I never wanted you. You were a mistake, and all you make is mistake upon mistake.
She stormed off, but those words stayed. They buried themselves deep inside me. I think I was 5 then. My father didn't shout like she did, but his silence hurt even more. His cold stares, the way he ignored me like I wasn't even there. It was like I didn't exist to him. Sometimes I wished I didn't. When I was 6, I spilled some juice on the couch. I had been careful, but the cup was too full. My mother dragged me by the arm and made me kneel on uncooked rice in the corner of the kitchen. My knees bled. She said that was the only way I would learn to stop being clumsy. Other times when I made a mistake, she would twist my ear or hit me with her slippers. Once, she made me stand outside in the rain because I left my socks on the floor. I stood there, soaked and shivering, while she locked the door behind me. I remember banging on it, crying, begging to come in. No one answered. At school, I saw other kids getting hugged when they fell or made mistakes. I watched them get picked up by smiling parents, talking about what they'd eat for dinner. I used to wonder what that felt like to be wanted, loved, cared for. I didn't know. There was a time I came home with a drawing I made in class. I was proud of it. I thought maybe that would make them smile. I handed it to my mother.
What's this nonsense? You call this a drawing? What are you wasting your time on?
She crumpled it and threw it in the bin. I just stood there, holding back tears. My father wasn't better. Once I came back 5 minutes late because my shoelace came undone on the way home. He dragged me inside and locked me in the bathroom. No lights, no windows. I was scared of the dark, and he knew. I sat in the corner, hugging my knees, counting the seconds until the door opened. He let me out hours later, without a word. I got sick often, but they didn't care. One time, I had a bad fever. I told them I felt cold and dizzy.
Good. Maybe your body's finally reacting to how useless you are.
I went to bed without dinner. No medicine, no blanket. Just my shaking body and the sound of their laughter from the living room. Sometimes when I cried at night, I'd cover my mouth with my pillow. I didn't want them to hear. If they did, they'd say I was faking it to get attention. I was 10 when I stopped trying to make them love me. I realized I could be perfect, silent, obedient, but it would never be enough. I wasn't the child they wanted. I was a mistake they had to live with, a constant reminder of a life they didn't want. When I finished high school, I thought maybe things would get better. I had passed my final exams, top of my class. My teachers had told me I had a bright future, that I could become anything I wanted if I just got a chance. I held on to their words like a lifeline. I didn't have much, but I had hope. That was something. But at home, no one cared.
College? For what? You think you're better than us?
We didn't go to college and we're fine. What makes you think you need it? Sit down and shut up.
They spent their days drinking and smoking, wasting money on bottles and packs of cigarettes. They refused to pay for any application forms or bus fares to go write scholarship exams. I begged and begged. One evening, while they were passed out drunk, I snuck out and wrote the scholarship exam on my own. 2 weeks later, the letter arrived. I had passed. I got in. It was a full ride with tuition, books, hostel, everything covered. I stared at the letter with shaking hands and tears in my eyes. It felt like I was holding my future. But when they saw the letter, my mother grabbed it, laughed coldly, and held it over the stove.
You think you're going to leave us? You think you're going to be someone?
She dropped it in the fire. I screamed and tried to pull it out, but it was too late. The flames swallowed it like it meant nothing.
We said no, and that's final. You belong here. You're not going anywhere.
From that day, things got worse. They locked me inside the house. I wasn't allowed to step out, not even into the yard. They pulled down the curtains so neighbors wouldn't suspect anything. They fed me only once a day, sometimes dry bread, sometimes plain rice. If I asked for more, they slapped me. They would tie my hands behind my back with ropes and make me kneel on sharp stones in the kitchen for hours. My knees bled and my back ached, but they didn't care. They poured cold water on me in the middle of the night just to wake me up. They made me clean the house twice a day, and if they found a speck of dust, they hit me with broomsticks or kicked me. Once, my mother broke a plastic stool over my back because I left a cup on the table. They laughed when I cried. They mocked me for dreaming.
You want to be a doctor, right? Or a lawyer? Look at you now. You're nothing.
Ungrateful brat. You should be thankful we even let you live in this house.
Sometimes I would curl up on the floor at night, too weak to move, my stomach growling. I would dream of college, of freedom, of friends and books and safety. But when I opened my eyes, I was still trapped. Then one day I heard knocking, loud, angry knocking. It was the police. The neighbors had heard me screaming. One of them had also climbed into our building and peeked into the kitchen window where they saw my parents punishing me. So, they called the authorities. That day I was taken away. My parents apologized for their behavior and told the cops to take me away, saying they are tired. They claimed to be mentally unstable. I don't know what happened to my parents afterward, but the cops took me away. I didn't even pack. I didn't have anything to pack. They placed me in an orphanage even though I wasn't a little child anymore. It felt strange at first, but for the first time, I had my own bed. I had 3 meals a day. I had peace. I stayed there for 1 year. Then one morning, the head of the orphanage called me into her office. She told me a couple had come to see me. They wanted to adopt a teenage girl. They had heard my story and they wanted me. I walked out of that office and saw them, smiling and waiting with kind eyes filled with warmth. For the first time in my life, I felt seen and wanted. My new parents treated me so well that nobody believed I wasn't their real daughter. I was given everything I wanted. Sometimes I would cry because I'd never received love like that. One day, I sat with my new parents at the dining table. After we finished eating, I told them what I thought about. Mom, Dad, I want to be a police officer.
You do?
Yes, I want to protect people. I want to save people, like I was saved.
Then that's what you'll be.
They helped me apply to the police academy. The training was hard. We woke up early, did push-ups, ran miles every morning, and had to pass so many tests. But I didn't give up. I remembered how much pain I had survived. I reminded myself that I was strong. After a few years of hard work and focus, I finally graduated. I was 21 years old, standing in my uniform with tears in my eyes, while my new parents clapped and hugged me. It felt like my life was just beginning. I got a job at a local police station. I started with a low rank, doing desk work sometimes and patrolling the streets. But I gave it my best every single day. I treated people with kindness and fairness. I helped kids who were lost, stood up for women being mistreated, and worked overtime whenever there was danger. Little by little, my name began to spread. My bosses noticed me. My team trusted me. I was promoted to a higher post, and by the time I was 25, I was well respected in the force. I led my own team now. Life was good. I had a fiancé named Kevin. He was sweet and gentle, always listening to my stories after work and supporting my dreams. My adoptive parents were still my biggest cheerleaders. Every holiday, we had dinner together. I'd bring flowers to my mother and help my father fix anything in the house. One day, we got a tip about a group of child traffickers. Someone from the inside had leaked information about where they were keeping the kids. My team and I had to move fast. When we arrived, we found frightened children locked in cages, dirty and hungry. We immediately began the rescue while some of my colleagues searched the rest of the house. Suddenly, we saw smoke. Someone had started a fire. At the same time, we heard the police dogs barking furiously. Moments later, a man and a woman came sprinting out of the house. We gave chase, and I led the pursuit. Cameras and reporters followed behind, capturing everything. I pulled out my stun gun and fired at the man. He dropped, convulsing as the electricity hit him. The woman didn't get far either. One of the police dogs leapt and bit her, taking her down. Reporters filmed the entire dramatic scene. When I got close to check the man's pulse, I froze. I was shocked, because I recognized him. It was my biological father. And the woman on the ground? My mother. They saw me too and looked even more shocked. Then they began screaming. When my mother noticed the camera filming, she shouted,
We were just babysitting. Those weren't cages, they were bunk beds.
"Funny? Babysitters don't usually lock kids in chains?"
That's my daughter. Let us go this moment. Sasha, tell them to let us go. Can you believe this? How can they arrest us?
Ma'am, do you know them?
I thought about it. Nothing would change even if I said I knew them. But why should I agree to knowing them? After what they did to me, they're here trying to kidnap and sell off innocent kids. I didn't want to have any connections with them. No, I don't. Take them away, they're criminals. They cried louder as my team led them away. My next goal was to ensure they went to jail and spent the rest of their miserable lives there. But before their trial, I went to see them in their cell. My dad was in a wheelchair, and my mom leaned on crutches, still recovering from the dog bite and the car accident. As soon as they saw me, they burst into tears, begging for forgiveness. I laughed in their faces. I have no forgiveness for you both. You're evil, heartless, and cruel. I have a happy family now. I'll be getting married soon, and I'll make sure I treat my child the way my adoptive parents treated me. My children will call them their grandparents. You both will never set your eyes on them till you die. And I'll make sure you spend the rest of your lives in jail. The only good I can do you both is getting you a lawyer. They cried and begged on their knees, but I left them there. As for the lawyer I got for them, he was a quack and made the case worse. Both my parents got 25 years imprisonment each. I felt happy that they finally got punished for their crimes. When the video of their arrest was published, everyone was disgusted. Even in prison, child traffickers are despised, sometimes even more than murderers. As a result, my parents were isolated. Doctors ignored their treatment, leaving them in constant pain. Our extended family cut all ties, and inmates made them do every dirty job imaginable. Just picture my dad, in a wheelchair, forced to mop toilets. Serves him right. As for me, every few months I send them a postcard. Just wanted you to know my baby's first word was love, something you never gave me. Have a lovely sentence. Thanks for watching. And if you don't subscribe in the next 5 seconds, absolutely nothing will happen. But wouldn't it be cooler if you did?